It's an extraordinarily great honor to have been asked to be here. It's an extraordinarily great honor to be here. Thank you for asking me. When the state is the perpetrator of crime or of injustice, and where the legal system has not cured the injustice or found the crime, but has perpetrated, has perpetuated the injustice too. What is there left for society? It makes it the more vicious and the more enduring. During the past 10 years, in which you, the families, have achieved, no matter what the ultimate report of Saville says, you have achieved the forcing of the state that has committed crimes, the crime of murder. You have forced the state to comply with its obligations in international and domestic law. The right to life, the crime that the state committed in murdering your close relatives, the right to life under Article 2 of the European Convention of Human Rights. You forced, by stamina, by stoicism, by absolute moral integrity, you forced the state to comply belatedly with its obligations under Article 2 to conduct an investigation, a proper investigation into why it was and how it was that life was unlawfully taken. But in the same past 10 years, practically every other article of the European Convention on Human Rights, the same state, the British state, has been violating in relation to other communities. It includes Article 2, in that it exposes its own nationals, its own residents, to the danger that their lives will be taken. But in turn too, it has breached Article 3, the right to freedom from torture, Article 5, the right to freedom from arbitrary detention, Article 6, the right to a fair trial, Article 13, the right to have a remedy, Article 14, where every right is meant to be exercised on a non-discriminatory basis. I was just going to begin by telling you something of some of those rights that in parallel with this inquiry, when the British state was compelled to comply with its Article 2 rights, at the same time, this is what they've been doing in relation to some other protected rights. Beginning, you'll understand the irony. Beginning in December 2001, when we hitched our wagon to that of George Bush as he waged his war on terror. Tony Blair stood shoulder to shoulder with George Bush, wanting to ape his Patriot Act, his setting up of unlawful detention sites, his secreting of people in secret torture chambers around the world. All of that, Tony Blair thought we should imitate. And so, this is the irony, he brought in internment. Conscious, British government was conscious that the term internment had a resonance, that the history of internment here wasn't forgotten. And so this was a new brand. It wasn't internment. The government said, yes, it was arbitrary, indefinite detention without trial. It wasn't actually internment because these were all foreign nationals and they could leave. This is what was said. They could leave. One, a stateless Palestinian, where would he go? The others all refugees who have been hideously tortured in their countries of origin. They could go to torture or certain death. So it wasn't internment. But it violated Article 5 of the European Convention on Human Rights, and we didn't care. We simply didn't care. The end justified the means, and the end was making a political statement to show that we stood shoulder to shoulder.